Did you start it?
Yeah, I think so.
Is it working?
I don't know.
Can anyone hear us?
All right, so we are on. Yeah, we're live.
Are we live? Is this thing on? Hello.
I hope so.
All right, cool.
All right, so bear with us if there's anything hokey that goes on here, because this is our first live stream, and we're getting the hang of it. Yeah, it's a little clunky. All right. So, okay, cool. You guys see us. Awesome. Oh, Mad Dog.
Mad Dog.
Welcome, buddy. Cool. You can hear us good?
Awesome.
Sounds good? If everything's good, we'll kick in.
Oh, thank you. We love all you guys, too. All right, cool. Well, I guess we can get started then, eh?
Yeah.
Right,
Why
cool.
not? All right, cool. Excellent. So, for our first Q&A, right, we put out there that we'd like to get, some questions, obviously. This wouldn't be much of a Q&A without Q's. So we ended up getting quite a few questions, really good ones, and we sort of built them into our agenda today, and we'll just go through the question and answer.
Yeah.
And we've got a few topics we'd like to touch on. So
yeah. And get your feedback on, too. So that's part
Right.
of why it's kind of neat that you guys are here, because we have some questions for you, too. So
exactly.
surprise.
Yes. So this is going to be an interactive session. So obviously, if we didn't want it to be interactive, we wouldn't do a live Q&A. But I think what we'll try to do is address any questions that come up as they come up.
Yeah.
Or we'll kind of put them in the section that we're going to answer a similar question later on, because we have questions already.
Yep, sounds good. And
All right,
hi Vancouver and hi Germany. That's awesome.
Nice.
All right, cool. So let's get started, I
All
guess.
right, we'll jump in.
All right, so we're actually gonna jump in with a question that leads into a topic that we want to discuss. And this was something that was pre-submitted, and if you guys have questions on this topic as well, you can type them in the comments. So we get a lot of questions about putting the time and effort into the videos and stuff, and like kind of what people can contribute. Like, I can't tell you how many times people have come to us like, can I give you something? Can I give you money? Like, can I give you anything?
Crazy.
Which it completely humbles us, because we really do this for fun. So, for all you guys. So I wanted to kind of kick it off with that. So talking about a little bit about, receiving payment.
Yeah, this is an interesting topic.
Promotions and things like that.
And we touched on this in our welcome video.
Yeah.
And so if you haven't seen that, this would be new news. But if you have, then this is kind of going over it. But there's a lot of chatter, right? And just to step back a minute. So we do a lot of research, right, in the industry and in the community, because we want to make sure that we're sort of touching on what everybody's interested in, right? Mm-hmm. Because if we're not doing that, then you're going to stop coming to our channel. So
finger on the pulse, kind of.
Finger on the pulse. So we scour all sorts of social media sites, right? Which I'm sure a lot of you do too as well. So we go to like Board Game Geek is obviously one of our biggest sources of information. Facebook. Yeah. Twitter, Reddit, YouTube, Reddit. There's a lot of good groups in all of those on those channels. So we've got in Reddit, what do we go to? Board game group in Reddit. Yeah, board games. I think Reddit/board games. We go to Facebook board game group.
But anyway, there's a lot of places that we go to kind of get to get that pulse.
Exactly. So what we do see is there's always questions that come up about can you trust what reviewers are saying if they're being paid, right?
Right.
Because that's always a touchy subject. Do you want to listen to somebody who's giving you a paid promotion versus somebody who's more or less just saying, I like this game because we like the game, right? Yeah. And we've always had a stance that I think, and we're finding that is quite different than
a lot of other
the majority of content creators out there. So which is why we wanted to touch on sort of promotional.
Right. Because we get this question a lot, and
right.
Lots of questions in the community.
And it's always the first question too. For those of you who may or may not know, like these things, when we get emails from like Kickstarter backers, right? Yeah. Not backers, but publishers, right?
Yeah, designers and stuff.
First thing they ask us is, "What are your fees? What do you guys charge?" Right?
Right. Yeah.
And our response is always, "We don't charge anything because we don't." And then they're immediately like, "Okay, here's my game. Here's my rules.
What do you do?
Put this up." So.
We'll talk about Kickstarters in a little bit too.
Right. So we're always kind of like baffled by, like what is it? What does one even charge for
right,
something like this?
Like honestly, I have no idea what other people get paid to do this.
Yeah.
And we've never really like asked or anything, but
exactly. Yeah. We don't know.
Like, we don't really think about it.
We're definitely not in the know for that.
Yeah.
So we're not looking to get into that either, because I think it does sort of tarnish what you're trying to put forth as an opinion.
Yeah.
If the opinion is a paid opinion, right? Because in my opinion, if you're taking money,
at least that's our perspective. And the thing is, I think that it depends on who you are. It depends on how good you are at kind of separating morally, your emotion and your feeling and your connection with like designers and things like that. I mean, we say no in a different way. So we don't take every game that people request that we play. So we have to say no kind of in another way, as opposed to being like, no, we just don't like your game. Thanks for paying us. You know what I mean? So so it's kind of just a different challenge, but I feel more comfortable going that route than the other way.
So like that's why we want to talk about it. And we do get a lot of good feedback from those who are like, yeah, we trust your opinions. You're not getting paid. Even there, Harry Gonatoro, who says, pure honest who love board games, and that's the fact, right? That's our channel, right? We just love to play board games. We try to cherry pick Kickstarters as best we can. Yeah. And we've gotten to a point, like early on, we were taking whatever we could get, right? Because we didn't really get offered, everything under the sun. But we do get offered a good mix of games, and we do request a good mix of games. So it's not like everybody's sending us games, but we do turn down, and we're starting to turn down a lot more now. Yeah. Because it's not, if we were taking money to do a promotion for a Kickstarter to, again, promote it, to make a commercial for it, to bring more folks in, we would certainly do every Kickstarter that crossed our table that we could charge for, because then it becomes a business, right? But we're not making this a business, and that's why we don't take money. Yeah. Now, we don't in any way want people to think that taking money for this is a bad thing. Right,
and that's why I said it really depends on who you are,
Right.
And, I think a lot of it goes back to, you guys as like, consumers, I mean, all of us, I guess, as consumers, to decide whether or not the game is something that we would like based on how it's playing or something. Or if you really jive with a certain creator, whether they're getting paid or not, and that you can trust them, that's good. And that's kind of on you guys. But just to kind of drive that point home, that it's not like a judgment call or something.
No,
it's just not for us.
It's not like an ethical thing where we think, oh, you shouldn't be taking money for this. But absolutely, if this is how you want to fund your channel, we support that. Yeah. By all means, but it's just not. We're not in a position where we need to do that, and I think, and that kind of keeps us a little bit separate from that, and where everything we put out will be at our pace, what we want to play, right? Yeah. Without having to feel the pressure of having to get something out by a certain time, of a certain quality, with a certain opinion. Right. Because that's where this whole thing becomes work versus play and hobby for us, and and we don't want to cross over to that now. Yeah. But I do say, if there are contributors out there that you enjoy, that really, that are going out on a Patreon, help support me. I'm going to do this full time for you. I'm going to push even harder. I think it's great. Absolutely do it, because you're paying them to provide you with good content, right? And good quality content. I think getting paid by your backers is different than getting paid by a publisher. Yeah, it's a very different animal, and that's not something that we get into either. I mean, that was kind of the question was, how we don't have a Patreon, we don't do a Kickstarter or anything like that. We kind of get by with what we have, sort of, and we don't have anything super fancy, but we'll, we save up, and this is our hobbies. This is what we do. This is what we do. Yeah. And we use, like I said, kind of what we have around. So I don't know. Yeah, so it's been an interesting topic, but our opinion, like I said, is cool with the Patreons and the Kickstarters and all these channels that want to get funded that way. Yeah. I think if you're taking money though from a publisher, you need to label it as a promotion and a commercial, and not a review or opinion, right? Because that's to me that crosses the line. Yeah, we have to be careful of that. Right, so. And as far as what you can contribute to us, I mean, we have had, I'll be gotta be transparent about this too. So we have had fans do somewhere provide music for us. We have somebody looking at our website right now because it's an absolute disaster, and they're just like, please let me redo your website. And I'm like, okay.
I'm not going to say no to that. Yeah, but we just don't have like a mechanism to receive like money.
Yep.
Really.
Yeah, so we were fortunate to have, one of the fans of the channel, Jared. I'm not sure if he's on, right?
I don't know if Jared's on yet.
But he did all of our graphics for us. So when you saw
Yeah.
like the whole conversion of our channel to this new branding, he did all of it for us.
Yeah.
And it was, for free. Here you go, guys. I'm a
Yeah.
fan. What can I do to help you guys out? I'm a graphic designer and all that stuff. I'm like, this stuff's phenomenal.
Yeah.
So we're like, have at it. And he just provide us with all the assets and boom, there we go. So
really cool.
yeah, I mean that's the type of thing.
Yeah.
That's pretty much all we'll do, right? And as far as like when we get videos, because we're not we get games for videos, we're not charging these companies. So what we do ask for is, hey, send us a copy of the game. Because I'm not going to go out of my way to buy a game to review for you if that's what you're asking us to do.
Right.
But if I'm asking them for a copy of the game to review, we're at a 50% success rate at this point.
So we have. I just want to jump to some of the questions.
Yeah,
to
let's do that.
Engage everybody, and so Tim just asked. So like based on what we're saying, what was the process with something like Seize the Bean?
Oh.
So like that's a good example of a Kickstarter that they
yeah.
contacted us. Said, and that's basically how it works. I mean, they'll email us and say, hey, this is who we are. We're putting together this game.
What do you charge?
What do you charge? And, sometimes it's funny because, like, sometimes the what do you charge comes in first and we don't even get any details about the game.
Right.
And I'll be really honest, we kind of just don't usually respond to those because we get a lot of emails.
Yeah, we get a lot more lately. Yeah.
But a lot of, and I guess people are trying to, be mindful of their intellectual property too. They don't want to like tell somebody all about a great game and worry about us like spilling the beans or something.
Or seizing the bean.
Or seizing the bean. But anyway, with something like Seize the Bean, they send us, a PDF with the rules, maybe some of the components. They give us an idea of where the Kickstarter's going. A lot of companies will let us know if they've published things in the past or they've Kickstarted things in the past, which is becoming one of our kind of like one of our credentials. I want to say credentials. Credentials? For deciding whether we want to do one or not. Yeah. Just because we have seen some, Kickstarters, can be hit or miss. But
they can be hit or miss.
But yeah, so something like Seize the Bean would say, yeah, sounds great. They'll send us the prototype. Or sometimes it gets sent to us by another reviewer. So and then we'll send the prototype on to another reviewer. So
we've actually gotten prototypes from Rado.
We have.
All the way from Malta.
Malta.
Pretty
I
ridiculous.
just signed for it at the post office.
It's pretty fun.
So that's pretty neat. But yeah, and we'll play it and we film it.
Yeah.
A lot of times we'll go through the rules, make sure we understand everything. There have been instances where we did not understand what was going on in the rules, or we'll have kind of a lot of the creators that are helping, by doing reviews and things like that. We'll kind of be on a chat or something to say, okay, this isn't really clear, that's not really clear.
Right.
So you sort of get into the realm sometimes of like play testing because we play so many games. It's we make good play testers.
Yep.
So that's, and then once you have it all fleshed out and you understand what's going on, you film it and
Yeah, so like typical timeline, for example, is we get an email, we agree to it, we give them the address, they send it to us, we get the game, and then they're like, okay, the Kickstarter's going live on this date, and say we have a month. So we'll go through the rules, we'll probably play the game, within a week or two after we get it, depending if we have a full month to flesh it out. We'll play it, we'll see if there's any like real gaps in understanding on the rules, because a lot of these rules are printed out on like 4 sheets of paper stapled together without any pictures or anything. It's just pure text. And if we have questions, we email the designers. They get right back to us. They tell us whatever clarifications. And usually, if we get a game like a month in advance, the odds are at least once or twice the rules will change.
Yes.
Between when we get it versus when we finally film it. Sometimes, like the day before we film it, the rules are changing.
Yeah.
Like one we're doing now, donning the purple.
Yeah, we
just got the final rules like a couple days ago, so that's going to go up. But then then we'll film it. But like Seize the Bean, the rules are very straightforward on that one.
Yeah, that was a very
we didn't even have to
clear
go back.
cut.
Yeah.
They were ready to go. The entire game was like solid.
Yeah, like Nemesis though, we had some issues with.
We did, yeah.
Pretty big issues with the rules. Not that they were bad, we just didn't understand it, and I think there were some translation bits in there.
Yeah.
That we were having trouble comprehending. But we were live chatting like the designer.
Yeah.
as we were doing the playthrough, literally pausing the camera, live chatting them, say, hey, look, we ran into this issue. What do we do here? And then they explain it, and then it made more sense. So
Tim asks, do we have a Kickstarter that we didn't do after going through this process?
Well, there's one that we filmed, and it's unlisted right now because we're not sure if the Kickstarter's launching. If it's even going live.
Yeah.
But we filmed it about a month ago.
Yeah.
It's uploaded.
Yeah, it's done.
It's just...
And I'm so worried at this point that, like, they have just continued to play test.
Yeah.
And, like, the rules have changed.
There were a lot of back and forth on this one. So it's literally sitting there hidden, waiting to be published. And my fear is that it's going to change so much that by the time we actually have to publish it, it's not even going to be the same game.
And it's actually it's funny that you mentioned that, too, because with a lot of the Kickstarters, like, we'll get... And this is all just running a YouTube channel. We'll get rules corrections and stuff in like comments for Kickstarter videos.
Yeah.
Like a year later, and we're like, "Wait, what was that game? Like, what did we do?"
Yeah.
But the thing is, a lot of times the rules will change between us getting the game and then it actually making it to publication. So.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
So that's another thing too. But I'm trying to think if I don't know if there's been any others. We honestly we're pretty good about knowing what it is we like, and going through the materials that the designers send us initially to determine whether or not a game's going to fit our channel, fit something that you guys are probably going to like, and be something that we're going to enjoy playing multiple times with not finished rules, because that can be challenging if you don't like the game. So.
Yep. So let's go back to some earlier questions. So Brant, regards to Connecticut at your International Tabletop Day, just send us an email, outloudgames@gmail.com. We'll coordinate something, see if we can get up there.
Yeah, we're in Jersey, so
we're
not like too far away.
This War of Mine, really liked it.
Yeah.
What do you think of it now, if you did? We haven't played it again, we just haven't had time, but I am all about jumping back into it as soon as we get a chance. Really, really good game. Let's see. There's our game that one you loved, the other one didn't like at all. Yes. Actually,
there's a couple.
There's a number of them. So I wouldn't say loved. I'd say I liked it. I thought it was a cool game. You hate it, and a lot of people love it. It's called Jaipur.
Oh my gosh! Don't even get me started.
It is, and I'm sure it's a very popular game where you're playing.
It is, and I have to give.
Come on, it's a good game.
Respect to Jaipur, because I know a lot of people love it. And a lot of people recommend it as like, this is the gateway game.
You just hate the way I play it.
Well, the thing is, Anthony floods the market with camels before I get a chance to
I just make her draft all the camels.
and he makes me draft. I have all the camels.
Yes, so she hates it.
It's just not. I'm just like,
that one always comes up in a lot of discussions, because a lot of people recommend for 2 players. They're like, hey, play Jaipur. It's a simple, lightweight game.
I know, and I always have to jump in on those comments like. Except also don't play Jaipur.
What games do you use to entice people or your buddies to play board games usually?
Oh yeah, this was one of our pre-submitted questions as well. I don't know if it's from the same person.
We're only friends with people who like board games. So it makes it very simple. No.
That's not entirely true.
No. Most people we know like board games.
Because they know us.
Because they know us. But we actually went to Mike Russo's. He's in the chat. But we went over to his house about, a month ago? Yeah. And we brought games that we thought people would like to play, because we weren't sure if the crowd was going to have gamers or not. And so for some of the folks there who weren't really into the heavier stuff, we pulled out like Mysterium.
Yeah.
And that always goes over well. Mysterium Codenames, like those are just two very safe.
Yeah.
Somewhat abstract.
And the thing is, they're not really party games. Yeah. Because we don't have a ton of party games in our collection. Not that they're bad, but we just don't.
Just not into it.
But we find that some of these other games, like you said, like Mysterium, like Codenames, I'm trying to think of some others. But we'll bring those out, and it's just it's like intimidating at first, but then I think when people play them, they almost feel like, wow, I played a real board game.
Yeah. You know what I mean? The trick is, though, if you're gonna bring a game to a group that you're not sure is gonna like board games, or you're trying to introduce it, make sure it's a game that you know won't take 10 to 15 minutes to explain rules about, because you will lose somebody in that time. Setup can take a little while. That's fine, because they can all eat on food and get their coffees while you're prepping it. But if you have to sit there and spend 20 minutes explaining rules to somebody who doesn't really play board games, they're going to be like, sorry, you lost me after about 30 seconds.
Right.
So just keep that in mind. So that's why we said something like Codenames, you can just throw on the table and say, okay, you just give me a clue and I'll make words. And it's pretty much simple.
Yeah, those are good. Have we played as a little hello to, what do you say? Bonjour?
Bonjour.
To friends? And we've not played Azul. This was...
No, haven't done that
It
one.
was one of our sadly missed games of 2017.
Yeah, so we didn't get a hold of that one. That's one we're looking to get.
Yep.
Let's see.
It's really good.
Have you had many games that subsequently didn't make? Okay, so we got
we'll
to
get to
that one.
I saw a question come through about jobs and stuff like
Yep.
that. So we have some we'll do game related stuff and then we'll get to some more personal
Yeah,
stuff.
the
Because you guys
personal
want to know
stuff's towards the end.
all the dirt, which is awesome. So.
All right. Let's see. Jaipur. Yeah. So
and William. I don't know if you go by William or Bill or Will or whatever. Anthony loves Jaipur, and I'm sure the majority of the population does. It's just me. I'm just weird.
Yep. Chimera Station. Yeah. So that one. That was a surprise to us. We got that at PAX.
Yeah.
We had no idea. We were walking around. We went over to Tasty Minstrel's booth and we were looking at it, and we were able to get a copy.
Yeah. That was surprising. It wasn't on my radar at all.
No, not at all. Because once we looked at it and we saw that it was actually a euro.
Well, that was the thing we talked about in the video, so I won't go too much into it. But it looks very, it looked like a kids game kind of, which is fine. I mean, there's a place for that too. But when we saw the depth in that game, it was fantastic. Yep. Dinosaur Island is on our list of things we want to play.
We don't have it. We definitely want to get that one. What's your favorite con, and do you go to buy or play games? All right, so. We go to do both.
At different cons.
But here's the thing. Gen Con is where you go to buy games.
Yes.
Right? You will be able to play here and there, but I think for the most part, that's where most of the releases come out.
Yeah.
So that's why Gen Con is so hot. And it's good to get there early on day one, because usually by day 2, the hotness games are pretty much gone. Yeah. So we prefer Gen Con to really focus on buying, but we do play when we can.
Well, I would say, just to go off of that, we ended up picking up a lot of the games that we wanted to get at Gen Con last year actually at Origins.
Because we were able to.
Unless they were Gen Con releases. Yeah. Because they did have some stuff that was released, I don't know, Q2 or something, and it was just available at Origins.
Right, if it's a new release coming at Gen Con, I'm there to buy those new releases. Right? That's the bottom line. But Origins, we will go pick up what we couldn't get at Gen Con because now the stock is in. But we do play more games at Origin.
We do, yeah.
Than we do at Gen Con.
Because it's kind of smaller.
It's a smaller con. So Gen Con, there's just too many people. So it's just a mad rush to get all the games.
Right.
And of course we play while we're there. You find an empty table. There's always empty tables and you play. But I think Origins, there's more demoing, right?
Yeah, there's a lot more demoing going on, and it's more open.
And PAX, actually, if you want to just play games, go to PAX because they have a library you can check out.
I don't know who that's from.
You can check out games in the library. They have live demos going all day where you play full games.
It doesn't cost anything. No. There's no tokens.
Gen Con will cost you a token to play a game,
right.
And if you go for a free demo, you get the demo maybe for 10 minutes. So it's a real tease because I think they're more about buying. They want you to buy the games and there's just too many people. So
yeah.
Sword and Sorcery, yes, did pick it up at PAX.
We're painting the minis.
We're still painting it.
So
still painting it.
That'll come soon. Do we play Twilight's Row? Yes, we do.
We did, yeah. Actually, that was early.
I always play as the USSR.
You are always Russian. I do play that more on my iPad now than.
Yeah, you do.
A lot of games if they come out on the iOS. There's certain ones that I'm just you know what, this one I'll just play on the iOS because it's like Through the Ages, right?
Yeah.
New Story Civilizations on the iPad. That's all I'll ever play.
Let's see. Advice for starting a channel. I'm gonna actually put that one a little bit further down the list, unless you want to answer it now.
Advice on starting a channel?
Yeah. Put some other questions that are kind of related to that, if you don't mind.
Cooperative or competitive? You two seem to just enjoy gaming together, but do you have a preference?
I'll make that first.
Preference. The preference is cooperative, I think. But we do like competitive.
Yes.
As long as it's not a take that competitive.
I think it's kind of I enjoy playing competitively with you where we're competing, building our own thing.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's who can build a better, engine to win this game. Mm-hmm. And I like some interaction.
Yep.
But not competitive I'm going to go we're building this thing and I'm just going to knock it down and who can knock it down best.
Yeah. So, basically she hates, kind of...
Yeah.
That was just not a good game.
I liked it for the first, 15, 20 minutes when I
And
was
then
winning.
when she was winning,
And
but
then people
then
started like
once everybody started attacking, and that's how you gain points. You attack in that game. So she's just, but if you could turtle up and kind of build a force and hold off.
The thing is, the problem with Kemet was that everybody, like all the little guys, did something different.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I'm not. We'll talk about, I think, like our taste in games and how they've changed, and I've definitely I'm getting used to like the fantasy stuff a little bit more, but at the same time, I'm still not like, because we were playing with people who were like, well, this dragon does 9 different things, and you can't actually kill him because he has this ability to like have extra strength, and I'm like, I can't keep all that in my head. Like, it's too much.
Yeah.
So, all right, I'm putting this question down here.
Okay, so let's see. Paint for minis. I use only Citadel right now, so I do enjoy Citadel paint. Let's see. More questions. Do you feel like you're always playing new games, or do you manage to find enough time for old favorites? That's a question we're actually going to ask.
Yeah, why don't we
do that
let's
now,
jump
right?
to that. Yeah, so, here
Okay, so obviously we play almost all the new games, right? And although that's a good thing, you kind of lose sight of some of the older good ones that you want to get back to the table, like this War of Mine, right? Like, we want to get back to the table. But as we have this like influx of just Kickstarters and new game releases coming out that we have to review, we just where's the time to sit there and pull an old game off the shelf and say, hey, let's just play this old game. But what we're going to actually do, we talked about this earlier today, is what we're thinking of putting out a survey, right? And let you all decide or vote on which of these, say, 10 older games do you want us to do a playthrough for, right? Because we've had people asking us repeatedly for like Vinos.
Yeah,
so we have Vinos on the
we
shelf.
Played it.
We've got tons of games on the shelf. We haven't
Colonists.
even the Colonists, Vinos. Gloomhaven is sitting up there.
I want to do that Nations Dice game.
Nations of Dice game with Unrest expansion, Sword and Sorcery.
Yeah.
Charterstone, like that. Those are all still in plastic.
Even like Viticulture with like the Tuscany expansion. I know some people wanted to see.
Yeah.
But anyway, we have a bunch of these. So you can tell us now if that's something that you would like to see. But we're thinking of doing like maybe once a month or something.
Yeah, like once a month. We'll do like a throwback day where we do an old game and just do a playthrough of it. Because obviously, like people love to see the new stuff, but Odin. Feast for Odin.
Like, that's
I would love to get that back out. We love that game. So to do a video of it. So that's a big video, but right now it's hard for us to even think about that because we literally have like 7 Kickstarters sitting upstairs waiting to be cracked open and
we've
filmed.
got a lot of new stuff that we've
and new games that we picked up. So it's crazy.
It's a lot. And I guess we can talk about why we have so little time because we work later.
We'll talk about that later.
But let's talk about some other things, the kind of channel related. And actually, we can get to that to the one question somebody asked it about starting your own channel. Maybe you can kind of speak to this because you started the channel.
Yes.
And some of the things that you kind of have to think about with regards to, and we already talked about payment, time management.
Okay, so if you want to start your own YouTube channel, right?
So, you want to start your own
and I can't
YouTube.
say like our YouTube channel is like, it's the biggest thing and it's so successful, but it's picked up some traction. I think it's kind of found its own niche. But here's the thing. Don't try to emulate somebody else. I think that's the first mistake you're going to make, right? Because there's always somebody out there who's doing it longer. And if they're already doing it in that format, then they're not, what's to separate them from what you're doing? Right. And what's going to make you do something better, right? Because somebody's like, well, this guy's been doing this channel for 10 years, and somebody else came along doing the exact same thing. Right. I'm going to trust the guy who's doing it 10 years because he's been doing it for 10 years, right? So bring something new and fresh, whether that's your presentation, your film quality, or what have you, like just bring something fresh, and I think that's what's gonna draw more of the audience, right? Because you're not competing. You don't want to compete for somebody else's audience,
especially when you're in a community. I mean, our content creator community is fantastic. Like everybody's really close. Everybody supports everybody else. Morally and everything. So, you really do want to find maybe a niche that speaks to you or somewhere that you see isn't being served right now or that could be served in a different way.
Right.
And I think it's smart. Really, this is kind of just like from a business standpoint. You don't necessarily want to build like, what is it? Like you're building a better something.
Euphoria or Utopia? What is that one?
No, like build a better spaceship or something. I don't know. There's like an aphorism for instead of like building something better, build something that's kind of new or that's unique in a way.
Or if you want to re-engineer something that's really good, but re-engineer it in a way that it's different enough that it's not the same old thing.
Right.
I recommend don't starting your video with you standing in front of a bookshelf full of games.
Yeah.
I think it seems like the industry's kind of moving away from that image. Because it's just, that's what you expect to see. So, like I said, do something unexpected.
They said, find your voice. Yep.
Find your
mousetrap. Yes, that's what I was
Build a better mousetrap.
Perfect. Okay. Even though I'm like native English speaker, I'm the worst with American idioms. So, sorry. There you go. So instead of building better mousetrap, build, I don't know, buy a cat.
So it looks like we're getting a lot of good feedback on Old Game Day. We'll come up with
Old Game Day?
We'll come up with a snazzy name.
I'm not sure. Throwback Thursday.
Oh, throwback is like so used in the industry now. Everybody's like, well, let's do throwback this.
I'm
But we'll figure something out.
Yeah.
We promise you this. At least one game a month, one video a month we'll do of a game that was released in the year prior to this one.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
How about that?
I think that's great.
Is that fair?
Yeah, and I like that too because we do have a lot of games that I would love to get back out on the table.
Yeah. So this will force our hand. Grim Forest, looking at it, looks really good. Yes, there does seem to be take that in it, but I think the components in the art look fantastic.
Yeah,
so
that's neat.
we'll try to get a hold of that one.
Oh, coffee or tea? This is a quick one.
Oh,
so
sorry. No, well, they saw me drink, so this is.
They did?
This is coffee. Right
okay.
From
but
Wawa.
preference-wise, I drink both.
Yeah, I prefer coffee.
I do herbal tea.
Yes.
Unless I need caffeine, I drink coffee.
Do I still enjoy solo games? I can't remember the last time I played one. But yes, I probably would.
Yeah.
Very much so.
Let's.
Never played Troy, so I don't know. I'll tell you this, if there's a game that comes out, right, like Troy's, and we look into it, and it just reading through the rules, it seems like there's a lot of take that in it, we just skip it.
Yeah, because we know it's probably not going to be something that we're going to enjoy, so.
Just skip it. Oh, do you also play video games on PC? We'll cover that in Hobbies later.
Yep. All right. I think that sort of catches us up. We'll look through these two. And the designing a board game is also something that
we'll talk about later.
Zach, so we'll talk about that.
Yep.
And actually, that's kind of in this next segment. So we wanted to talk about kind of what's next.
Oh, what's next for the channel? So let's shift gears.
So, we have some pre-submitted questions, but I think we'll kind of answer them along the way. But talking about direction for the channel, we just, we talked about how we kind of want to get into doing some older games. We're not going to be doing I don't want to say we won't be doing as many Kickstarters, but we're definitely going to be more selective about the Kickstarters that we're doing to just make sure that they fit with the channel.
Yes.
Make sure that we're not wasting a lot of time trying to, doing more play testing than we are reviewing because we're not, even though we like doing play testing, we're we don't have a lot of time to do this.
Right.
So it's kind of limited.
Yeah, we're in a very good position now. I think we've gotten, I think, a big enough following, at least on YouTube now, to sort of actually be able to stop and say, hold on, we're getting too many Kickstarters in the door, that we need to start to, like we said before, cherry pick. And we're not doing it because we don't think we should be doing all these games, but it's like we just don't have time, honestly. And I'd rather we give you the best of the bunch that we think you should probably consider going out and getting. Versus just everything that comes across the table. Now, there are certain publishers that we've never heard of that come to us and we do their stuff, but there's also publishers that we work with regularly. We've built very strong relationships with, like Steve Finn of Dr. Finn's Games, right? So if you're familiar with Dr. Finn, he contacts us as soon as he's got an idea of a prototype that he's got almost fully fleshed out to ask us if we'll do the videos. He sends us, we've done pretty much everything Kickstarter related for him since we pretty much started this thing. We even prototype tested a game at PAX with him.
Which will be on the channel soon.
Which we're going to be posting very, very soon because he's doing a Kickstarter real soon. So we have good relations. Edo Braff always sends us stuff from Edo's playthrough. He has his own channel. So we do have really good relationships. NSKN we do. Red Raven, they're really good to us too. We have a lot of really good relationships with some good publishers nowadays. So we're able to start to say, okay, now we're going to take a step back here and really try to get the best content for everybody.
Right. So when we get the abstract, we have this concept for a game, it's kind of We're not really for hire necessarily. But
Yeah, so James, for Finn's next game, I don't know if you know anything about it, but it's his like first Euro type game, and yeah, we kind of loved it. So.
It would, we were really surprised because we're used to his kind of small box, just kind of throw it on the table and play sort of games, and this one is also small, but it's there's a lot more strategy.
It's his chunkiest game, I think.
It's
so
really good.
Yeah, definitely check it out.
All right, so let's get to some of the pre-submitted questions, and then if you guys want to ask questions along the same lines, please do. So somebody asked about producing some top 10 videos, which we're in the process of doing right now. So if you haven't seen our top 10, you can check it out. I'm sure most of you have, and we have a few more coming that we're not disclosing what they are.
Yes.
Because we want to keep you guys on your toes.
Yep.
Right?
We have at least 2 more coming out, probably 3.
Yeah. Is there a scope in the future for you to release videos more frequently?
Oh, that's a good question. Probably not.
Really
Not right now. Only because we both work full time. We'll go through that a little bit later in the more personal section of the Q&A. But we both have a handful of hours every night to try to squeeze these in.
Right.
Sometime on the weekends, not always, but we try to get at least 1 video, if not 2 out a week.
Yeah.
And I think if we get 2 out a week, I think for us that's really aggressive.
Right. Yeah.
But
because you want it. The thing is, I don't know. I kind of mixed feelings because we enjoy this, so we enjoy the process of playing the game. I mean, when we're filming, more or less, you guys are just watching us.
We just play.
Yeah,
we just play.
We kind of forget that the camera's on sometimes,
We do.
And when it becomes too much, like if we try to pump too much into a week or into a night, or into the one Saturday that we don't have anything else to do.
Right.
We're like, all right, what's next on the queue? And we try to do it. I feel like it comes across rushed because it feels rushed, and that's not fair to you guys, and it's not fair to the game.
Exactly.
If we're just not doing it because we're trying to have a good time.
Yeah. So if we're both like spent or cranky while we're filming a playthrough, I'll stop the video and be like, we're not doing this tonight.
Yeah.
And then we'll start over the next day. Because we don't want it to come across as we don't like the game.
Because we're just tired.
It's just being tired or just cranky. I haven't eaten yet. And I'm like, oh.
Right. I get really hangry.
We take a lot of care in putting these videos together. We want it to come across as you seeing how the experience is going to be playing this game. And that's really our top priority here.
That's what I think the core of our channel, and kind of what, at least what we pride ourselves on, is that we want you guys to get a feel for how the game plays. We're not here to necessarily teach you, though that may happen, by osmosis or something. Maybe we're here to give you our thoughts on it, not necessarily tell you if it's a 1 or 100 or something.
Yeah.
But the main idea is that you hear us laughing and you hear us making jokes during the game, or you don't. And that should give you kind of an idea of how we're feeling about it, because you know us, and you know kind of how we respond to everything.
And none of it's forced or scripted.
Yeah.
This is just what we do, right?
Yep.
If the cameras were off and we were playing the same game, you'd hear us saying the same exact things. Like we're at such a habit now of when we make moves, even if we play with a bigger group. I'm going to do this, and with my $3, I'm going to buy this, and then I'm going to do that.
It's accountability, though.
And it's funny because when you play with other content creators,
it's
a table of you doing that. So you're all announcing
really
your move so that everybody knows you've got the rules right, you're doing the right thing, and everybody's aware. It's a pretty surreal experience, actually.
It's pretty funny.
It's really funny.
Yeah. All right. So will there be any solo game playthroughs? And this person found our channel because of your take on Galaxies and Leaving Earth.
On which one?
Galaxies and Leaving Earth.
Oh, Leaving Earth. Yeah, that was a good one. That was a really mathy game. Leaving Earth.
So are there going to be more solo videos?
Like I said, I can't remember the last time I actually played a game solo. So to film a game solo, probably not. And I can tell you, there are so many really good solo channels out there right now that I would be doing them a disservice now by doing this, because they've got the camera cuts, the zooms, the assets down. Like, you're better off watching those guys because.
Well, and I think they've been playing a lot of the games solo.
Yeah, they're masters of solo game, and I'm not anymore. So like now I'm really converted to a multiplayer player.
I mean, we may play solo on our own sometimes. Like if I'm away for work or something, and you break
and I'll break out a game. Like
it's not like we don't play.
But I think if I were to play a solo game,
but as far as like playthrough goes,
it would probably be one that's app driven. So like the new Star Wars Fantasy Flight games, the Star Wars app that came out. So I would probably do that. or like a survival game like the Mars.
Right.
The Mars one, yeah.
The Red Planet one?
Not the Red Planet one, the one from Portal.
Oh, okay. First Martians.
Yeah, First Martian, so I'd probably do that one.
Alright, cool. Any playthroughs of Gloomhaven, Empires of the Void, or Pie Town?
Empires of the Void you saw came out.
Gloomhaven will be coming.
I hope. It really depends on how that's going to convert to the channel.
Yeah.
The same reason we haven't done Seventh Continent yet, because I'm not really sure how
we do that.
How many minutes of the 1,000-minute playthrough we really want to expose you to.
Right. And then Pie Town, probably not.
Nah, we saw that at PAX. We weren't interested.
Yeah, it just wasn't like super interested in that one. So, and do you find yourselves open to different types of games for the channel? So this kind of goes along. I mean, I don't know the context of the question because this was pre-submitted, but if we're open to anything. We always like new mechanisms and things. We're going to be doing Chronicles of Crime soon, which is like an augmented reality, which is weird.
It's got like little glasses.
You put your phone up to your face and stuff and like look around, and so that's kind of neat. It's maybe not something I would normally do because I like just the classic like cardboard. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Again, I don't know what the context necessarily is, but yeah, we're always open to different kinds of stuff.
All right.
But we probably won't play anything that we're not, like I said, like conflict-y stuff. Like we're not going to put a video.
No, we don't do that.
Just because it's not fun for us to do. So.
Nope. Is that it for those questions?
No, there's just a couple of more.
Okay, because then we have a bunch.
Yeah, let's go back here.
We'll go back to this. So, all right. So, here's one. Do you try to paint all your games, or just certain ones? I'd love to paint them all. If I had the time, they'd all be painted.
Yeah.
So right now we try to paint the ones we're going to play now. So no. So like Imperial Assault, for example, is about half painted. The Sword and Sorcery, if you actually look at the first scenario, all the monsters and heroes we chose are mostly painted. So it would probably be a couple hours we'd have that done, but it's only enough to play that scenario. So then any new enemies that come out, we're gonna have to repaint, to get it going. I love to paint. I don't like playing a miniatures game where the miniatures are all gray on the board.
I don't either.
That just bothers me.
Yeah.
So
it's fun to paint them. We're both kind of artsy.
Yeah, we love to paint. So.
What's your biggest disappointment so far?
What is your biggest disappointment?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, personally, I don't think there's anything really disappointing about it.
I don't think there's anything disappointing. I mean, maybe some of our equipment could maybe, but like our space. You guys have seen we've gone through like several different like spaces, and that just, I mean, last year that had to do with just moving around a lot of different places, getting ready for the house, and then while we're in the house, we've kind of moved a couple rooms to just see what fits. Like we're not really like, we don't feel comfortable in studio space right now.
Yeah, we don't have a fully finished studio.
Right, and we would love to have that.
Where it's all just decked out. Like you can see there's just an empty wall. Like that could have been full of shelving with a lot of little tchotchkes on it.
I didn't know if you were going to say shelving.
Well, not bookshelves full of board games, but just stuff that just is cool looking back there, right?
Yeah.
Like I want to get the studio to that point,
right?
And our camera's in a stationary place where everything is just pure consistency.
Yeah.
Because I think then the whole process of putting together a playthrough and the filming and all that becomes very regimented, and it's just like boom, 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 and it's the less time I have to fiddle with cameras and angles and all that stuff, the more time we have to enjoy the game, and then I can take the time to go edit, because you're talking about 2 to 3 hours of playing, and then another 2 to 3 hours of editing, if not more, because I essentially watch the whole video over again, and I do a lot of cuts, a lot of clips, a lot of editing, a lot of adding assets. So there's a whole lot of time that goes into it. The more time I can save on other things, the more time I have to actually have some free time.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
And rest.
Let's see. Oh, some comments about the two-player perspective. Yeah. We're glad that helps you. I actually love getting the feedback that we're helping kind of like couples that are sort of getting into gaming or maybe didn't know that was a really great way to spend time together.
Right.
That is a great way to spend time together. I think that's cool. It makes me feel like kind of like Cupid or something.
Yep.
It's kind of nice.
I really like two-player perspective. All right.
Just this one.
So here it is. May seem like a strange question, but is there any danger of too many games being published, saturating the market?
What do you think?
I think from a business perspective, no. I don't think.
Yeah.
I think what that does do is provides more variety.
Uh-huh.
But I think what the consumer needs to be careful of is to not buy into any of the junk, and just kind of skip it and go for the more the better quality product. And I think that people are savvy enough and know enough and do the research to know what to buy and what to avoid.
Right.
Don't fall for gimmick. But if you just take the video game industry, right? And I mean, obviously, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry where you can't say is the fact that more and more video games are being published and put out now than ever were, is that bad for the video game industry? No, it's just huge, right?
Right.
But what it's done is it's provided a bigger platform for more developers and publishers to get in and put out games that they may not have been able to do on their own, but are actually coming out in a very good quality. So, but you have to weed through all the junk. Just look at the App Store. You've got tons and tons of apps. 90% of it's garbage. But that 10% you've got to look for, and it's good. So I think the same thing should go for the board gaming industry, where you've got a lot more people putting out content that increases the chance of there being better quality content out there and better quality games out there. So I think it's actually good.
And I think it's good, but for a slightly different reason. I think like with any kind of technological advances or intellectual advances and things like that, the more people that you have in the community creating and designing and bringing their own perspective and their own ideas and their own themes and things like that does two things. Number one, it brings more people into the hobby, because we're seeing a lot more of these like niche games, that, it's not just like Magic the Gathering and war games and stuff like that anymore, just, dry strategy games. But you could easily get somebody into board gaming who's, let's say, works in a hospital, and you pull out Dice Hospital, and they're like, wow, like I can relate to this. This is something kind of, that feels like it was made for me almost. And the more creators that you have out there and designers, bringing those kinds of themes into the industry, I think is a great thing. And then the second point is, like I said, having those ideas out there. Somebody publishes a game with a slightly new take on a mechanic, and it may not be the best game ever, but another designer may look at that and go, wow, that's really great, and then they partner up and maybe make an even better game with this new mechanic. So it's like with anything else. So I don't think so. I don't think it's a saturation issue at all.
All right. Will you test
that's
Raiders?
still amazing right now. Thank you.
Will you test Raiders of the North Sea? Where did that question go? It's 2 new expansions. Maybe. I mean, they look cool. We've been thinking about getting those. We've been on the fence, right? But I won't play another Viking game until we get Champions of Midgard out. Because we have that with all the expansions that we just haven't gotten. So that'll be one of the throwback games, by the way, as well. What is our favorite horror board game?
Ooh.
Horror. We haven't played too many horror games. I mean, horror could be Friday the 13th horror, or it could be Cthulhu, right?
What's a pirate's favorite board game?
Horror. So Cthulhu, I'd say if you want to stick to that realm, I'd say probably the Eldritch Arkham Horror card game. I think that's the best rendition. Haven't played the new version of Mansions of Madness. I heard it's awesome. It's been out there a while, but just not hasn't been something we've been wanting to play. I know you had a dice tray similar to Rodney Smith's and Watch It Play. Can you say where you purchased it?
On the top 5 questions we
get,
by the way.
We get this all the time. This is actually a Watch It Play dice tray. I won it in a BGG auction from somebody who backed Rodney's Kickstarter in the past, and I won the auction from him. So I thought it was.
And that person who sold it to you commented on our welcome video, I think.
Yes,
where we answered that question.
Exactly.
And he was like, "I was that guy." So that was kind of like full circle, which is weird.
All right, so Death Star.
You see, James, you already answered that question for us. We should have checked.
I want that Death Star, please.
So I gave this to him for Christmas this year. It was one of your Christmas presents.
Yeah.
And I bought it on the internet.
The interweb.
It's actually, you can get it at Best Buy, but I think I might have gotten it on Amazon, might have been cheaper. There's actually 2 out there. One lights up, but it's like a Chinese version, and I don't know how like legitimate it is. I'm always a little bit worried about some of those like knockoffs that might look really cool, but this one's pretty neat. It's a Bluetooth speaker as well. So,
it is indeed.
It just sits there and I think
And
it's
hovers
pretty cool.
like the Death Star
Hovers.
should. What are your thoughts on Asmodee buying everyone out? They just bought Mayfair. I think I don't think it's a bad thing. I think as long as they continue to let them design their games and they don't try to rebrand them, which I don't know, they scoop everybody up, but a lot of them continue to retain that sub company name. So as long as they're just under a bigger umbrella, then I think they may have some better financial backing. So hopefully it only makes things better. But you don't want them to buy the whole industry, otherwise we'll just end up with Asmodee and Fantasy Flight.
Yeah. Edward, we're still going to do Kickstarters, but like we said before, we'll probably be a little bit more selective about the ones that we take because we're getting a lot of requests.
How huge is our collection? We're under 200.
Yeah, but that's intentional.
Intentional.
We're not like hoarder collectors, so we don't keep every single game. And this is actually, we have a question from somebody asked, and a lot of people ask us, like, how do we fund our game collection? And we're huge advocates for like trading games away. So we do trade away some games.
I do a lot of trading on BGG.
Yeah,
a lot.
So
but
would you do that?
I never trade nor sell games that are provided to us by publishers.
Yeah, never.
That's only games that I've bought.
Right.
So that's I always feel that's kind of weird.
No, you wouldn't do that.
Yeah, I think if anything, if we were ever to get rid of games that were provided to us by publishers, we'd give them away.
Yeah.
It would be a giveaway.
But we haven't had to.
To our audience, we'd give them away too, I think.
Yeah.
So just hope that my collection gets too big and the games will start flying out.
We are getting there. I think we have 3 Calyx shelves right now.
So James, looks like you're converting your nieces and nephews to board games. Very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, kids are always hesitant to try them, but once you get them playing a few, and if you pick the right ones, then they'll continue to ask you to play more, which is phenomenal.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow, so many questions. What is the game currently in your collection that you will never part with? Ooh.
Oh, I feel like there's like too many to list right here.
Probably any of my current Uwe Rosenberg games, any of our Vital Lacerda games. Yeah. Like those will never go.
Oh, some of your Desert Island games. Desert
Island?
Desert Island.
What?
Deserted Island.
What's
like if you were on a deserted island, what games would you want with you?
Yeah. Whew, that's tough. Like I'd say,
provided that you were there with me to play with, because.
So like a multiplayer game.
I mean, I don't know. I don't
well,
know.
then we say like that'd be like an anachrony, right? So you want to take like that because I could solo that against Chronobot, no problem.
Oh right.
So you'd want something like that. So pretty much any of the Euro in that sort of category, right? Of game where you've got a Euro, it's got an Automa, or it's got a Chronobot. Yeah. So like Stonemaier games, right? Mm-hmm. So those pretty much all come with an Automa now, right? Or any of Lacerda's games, you're always playing against Lacerda.
Right.
So like those, I think you get the most out of because it's a multiplayer experience. Mm-hmm. Where you can play a fully fleshed out solo experience.
Right.
So that's what you'd want, something that you can do that with. Or you could take... all
right, bye Edward. He's leaving.
I'll see you later.
He has an early Valentine's Day dinner.
Oh, nice. Or you could play like Seventh Continent where you have 1,000 hours.
I was going to say Seventh Continent would be pretty cool.
That should burn 1,000 hours.
And then you could just replay it again and like pick different choices.
Yep, exactly. Viticulture and Side. So like any of those would be perfect for that. But I don't think you'd want to say I want one.
See, we didn't do a playthrough of Scythe.
We didn't, Scythe.
And that's another.
We could do that
game. All right.
I love Plan B. Is there a publisher that you like? Yeah, Mind Clash.
Mind Clash, has really come out as one that they haven't put out a game yet that hasn't been one that we really love.
Mind Clash, Eagle Griffin. Mm-hmm. Puts out some really good ones. Red Raven. Every Red Raven game by far.
There's some European games. Like I know we have. I'm trying to think if like Bombex is one. Egertspiel, we have quite a few, and those are just weird because when they come over from Europe, the publishers here in the States pick them up, and it just depends on who picks it up, But yeah.
Louis Altapolano. Definitely going to do that one.
Yes.
We played that a little bit at PAX, and absolute positively going to do that one. Just need to get a copy.
Yeah, that's cool. Oh, hello from Ukraine. Hello. I don't know hello in Ukrainian though.
Ulm, yeah. So
Ulm's another one we've played and we enjoyed.
Okay, cool. Yeah. I'm glad you liked it. That surprised us too. We weren't sure about that one,
Yeah.
and actually we really did enjoy it.
Right.
They caught you off guard because it was quite fun. I'm quite curious about this one. So what game was quite fun that caught us off guard that you weren't into?
Alien Artifacts recently.
Alien Artifacts.
Was super fun, and I was not expecting that
Her
to be
biggest
as fun.
shock.
That was my biggest shock of last year.
Yep.
Yeah. And then as far as like an older game, they're like older being like within the past, couple years.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoyed Colony, and I bring this one up a lot by Gazier. And it's like a dice for resources kind of game. And it didn't get it got a lot of heat. Like people didn't like it, and it was like I think folks thought it was very luck based, and it's not. It's highly strategic. So if you play it as just a dice, like a luck game, and you're not building the right kind of engine to mitigate your rolls and things, you're going to be at a loss. But for me to enjoy so much a dice game, I was really impressed by that one.
Yep. So let's see. We have more questions here.
Our voices are very calming. Maybe we should put out like a bedtime
yes.
CD.
Who is our favorite artist for board games? Who would you say is yours?
Ooh, I'm more interested in who your artist is because you're picky about
Actually,
art.
this one is one I really like, and I always keep going back to it. And I just pulled the name up because it's not one I remember. It's Xavier Guenefy Durin, and it's the illustrator for the game The Big Book of Madness. And I believe this person also did The Phantom Society, which I never played, but it has very similar art. I just love that art style for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But to me, like Mansion's, what is the name of the game? The Big Book of Madness was really.
Right.
I mean, the game was decent. It wasn't like knock your socks off good, but the art is what absolutely sold me on that game because it's phenomenal. I just love that style of like cartoony but real looking cartoony almost, but not like photo looking cartoony. If you catch my drift.
Yeah, you don't like the big like red noses and like distorted faces.
No, that's what you like.
I don't like that.
Oh,
I mean, it's not. I said that kind of like mean. It's not like I hate that, but mine would be Ian O'Toole.
Ian O'Toole.
I know it's a lot of people's favorite, but a lot of people don't. I mean, it's very minimalist, and I'm very minimalist.
Yep.
And I like the straight lines. The tertiary color scheme is like where it's at for me. So that's
Beth Sobel, yes, Beth is also good. Beth did the art for the new Finn game coming out that we're going to be reviewing. So that's like a double hit on that one.
Yeah.
Yes, Valeria's good too. Agreed. I do like the art on that as well.
Yeah.
Hey, Naramas, what's up?
Hey.
Thank you.
Are we going to Essen?
That really depends on finances. That's a pretty expensive trip.
We're hoping to.
That's a multi-$1,000 trip. As much as I would love to do it, and I think a lot of people do these GoFundMe's and Kickstarters just so they can go to Essen because it's a ridiculously expensive trip.
That would be really great. But
all right.
All right, let's
move on.
Let's move on a little bit. So we had a couple of other questions of just about like the kind of channel related. One being, have we ever considered designing a game of our own?
Oh. Yeah.
The answer is
currently
yes.
We have.
So we have two or three actually.
Two or three ideas.
Yeah.
Now.
Two that are more serious that we've actually fleshed out a little bit.
So yeah, I think. We absolutely plan on creating at some point. I don't know if that's going to be this year or next year, but at some point creating and publishing a game. That's going to happen. Yeah. It's just a matter of which one we decide to do first because we've got the theme. We know exactly what it's going to be, but it's a matter of getting mechanics down that we enjoy and that we think people will like. So even if it's like we're one and done, we make one game, put it out, and that's all we ever do. Cool, but just to say we did it and that people enjoy it would be great. Right. So we'll definitely
keep you posted.
Definitely keep you posted on that.
All right, cool. And we talked about that.
Don't plan to go to the Cannes Festival this month. No, definitely not. What about any Kickstarters this year you hope to do playthroughs on or plan on? We have a ton already in the queue coming, and I'm sure we'll be doing plenty more. What we're trying to do is really do at least one or two Kickstarters for every full retail game we put out video-wise. Yeah. Because we don't want our channel to become the Kickstarter channel. Right. We want it to be because a lot of people, you watch a game on a Kickstarter and you're like, wow, I want that game, but well, you can get it next year. Versus, I love that game, I can go buy it tonight. Right. I can just order it right now on Amazon, and you're done. I'd rather have a mix of that. Wow, what's your favorite Ameritrash style game?
My favorite Ameritrashy game?
Yeah.
I don't know. What would you consider Ameritrash? Would you consider Scythe Ameritrashy?
No, not at all.
Okay. Well,
Swords and Sorcery. Ameritrash is just lots of dice.
Lots of dice
minis.
and lots of minis.
Lots and crazy
See,
things.
I don't really like them.
So I like
It's
Galaxy
about
Defenders. I
playing.
really enjoyed. Sword and Sorcery I know I'll like just because it's
But the thing is,
similar
I think
mechanics.
Sword and Sorcery looks really good. I just can't say I like it now. Because it's
Right.
exploring, right? So,
Right. You
fighting.
do hate dice mechanics though.
I
These
like-
games are
yeah.
heavy dice.
I don't like that. I like to. I don't like the luck thing.
Right.
It just doesn't do anything for me. It's not that it's
Right.
bad. I know that it's.
Yeah,
You know,
and like
some people
Descent,
like
that
it,
whole
but-
series is pretty
Yeah.
good. But it's also punishing, and I think a lot of the Ameritrash games are very fiddly in a lot of the little wonkiness on the rules
Right.
and the rolls and the modifiers and this and that. So,
Yeah.
all right, take
Bye,
care, Randy.
Okay. All right. So let's move on. Do you want to do more interest-related stuff, or do you want to do personal questions?
Ooh, well, we've been on an hour, so let's jump
Yeah.
into personal. So
And then we'll finish up with
yeah,
some
we'll wrap it
extra
up
stuff. Okay.
in a bit. Yeah.
So somebody would love to hear about our journey from getting the idea of having a channel to where we are now, and what prompted the channel name too.
Oh, the channel name.
So, do you
Interesting.
want to do the history, the short history?
The short history.
of
So we do
Hobbies?
cover this on
Yeah.
our welcome video.
Yes.
If you want to go catch that as well. But I'll give you the abridged version. So I just decided to make a channel one day, and it's just similar to I'm not sure who was it asked, how do you start a YouTube channel, but I had a camera, I had board games, I love board games, let's just do it. And I said, okay, maybe I'll do solo playthroughs and we'll see how it goes, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I did. I made the YouTube channel. You get to a certain point though, like YouTube subscription levels are very weird the way they move, right? Like you could get a ton of them at once, and then you won't get any for like weeks, and then all of a sudden you get a few more. But in the beginning, it was obviously slow building, but it was moving along, and it's like I think like the biggest thing was I got 1,000 subscribers. I mean, this is awesome,
Yeah.
and I thought it was a pretty big feat. So I kept putting out more and more videos, and mine were more or less just like kind of the standard solo. This is how you play it. Try, and my biggest thing with my videos was like we said before, try to come up with your niche, right? And my biggest thing was like, all right, I want to try to do as true to the rules as I possibly can without making any mistakes. And that's very, very difficult.
Mm-hmm.
So you just have to do a lot of cuts. But I also wanted to retain the same fresh feel of this is a playthrough, and I want you to experience the playthrough with me, right? So doing that, focusing on the playthrough, as well as focusing on getting all the rules right is kind of
Right.
complicated. So fast forward a bit, then we met. And
Yes.
not to go through the whole story of it, but
Well, that's the next question. So.
Oh, okay. So
I'm just kidding. Keep going.
I let her know. I have a YouTube channel. It's not something you just at some point you disclose that to
Right.
people
Yeah.
you know.
Not like not the first time we met.
No. But later on, I'm like, oh, by the way, I have a YouTube channel. I play board games, and then I think I told you like after you played a board game with me,
Yeah.
and you really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And I was like,
did.
oh, by the way, I have a channel where I actually kind of teach or do
Yeah.
playthroughs for this stuff. And you're like, oh, let's check it out. And then,
Right.
and then I slowly pulled you in. So like the first video Frances appears on, well, not even appears, but her voice
my
is
voice is on it.
is Descent, second
Yeah.
edition, or second edition, right?
Was it
Or
Descent?
third
That's
edition?
Descent,
Or
yeah.
whatever it is. So the Descent one where the app came out, right?
Mhm.
And then I had you do voiceover
I tend to
on
do the
some of the
narrative. I
app
was so
narratives.
nervous,
Yeah,
and
she
I
was
kept laughing.
nervous wreck.
It was the
But
worst.
that was like the first time she had actually done that, and then we've been going ever since. So I was like, all right. Once Frances joined the channel, she was like, yeah, I'll do this with you. And I was like, okay, well then let's blow this out and do 2-player games.
Yeah.
And then it opened up a whole mess of titles that I could not get to the channel before.
Right. And I
That
think,
suddenly were available
like
to
we
me.
also, because we started talking about it, and since I always joke that I like hijacked it or whatever, but like I think as we started doing the videos together, we really started thinking about like, where do we want to take this?
Mhm.
Like, do we just want to sit here and play games, or do we really? What are we providing? You know.
Right.
And that's where we started doing, and this went through a couple iterations, but we started doing more organized kind of follow-up, a more organized kind of beginning. It wasn't
Right.
just like, hey guys, today we're going to play
And
this.
branding
you know?
the channel. And,
Right, yep.
and you learn a lot about lighting and sound
Yeah.
and video quality and video editing
Uh-huh.
and just all of the little assets you have to put in, like the intro, the outro, the music, and all. And it's like you've really got to put together this entire package,
Yeah.
or it looks like just some video you pulled off your video camera and just
Right.
directly uploaded onto YouTube, and that's just not. It's just not professional, and we have a lot more like pride in what we put out,
Right.
because we take the time to really make sure it's wrapped up in a nice package for everybody to consume. Right?
Well, we're kind of, I mean, that's sort of how we are, I guess, as people, which is why we like get on so well.
Yeah, because it's something, oh God, if there's like a sound issue, like we refilm it.
And that's happened several times. And it typically happens during the longest
playthroughs
that we have. And we play only to find out that, and even though we've tested the sound, maybe like, I don't know, we got feedback or something, or something got knocked, and the sound was no good the entire time.
Yeah,
and
so
we don't know until we put it on the
hours wasted.
All right.
All right, take care, James.
Take care. All right, so let's see.
So what
the channel name? And somebody knew this.
Oh, channel name. Somebody knew?
Ross, yeah.
What do you say? Let me ask you. What do you say?
Since it plays back to your name.
Plays back to my name, yeah. It's my name. First and last name, first three letters. First name, first three letters of my last name. Because it was initially just my channel, so I just was like, all right, Ant Lab, that sounds fine. I'll go with it. And then then obviously we got an ant as the logo and a lab coat, because it makes sense, I guess. But that's how it just stuck.
And fun fact, you actually drew the original logo.
I drew the original logo for Ant Lab Games.
All right. And how long have we known each other / been together? And was it games that brought us together? And like several people asked us.
So
people ask us all the time. You guys email us these questions.
2 years?
Yeah, it's been 2 years.
2 years.
Yeah. I've been on the channel for about a year and a half-ish.
A little over, probably.
Or so.
But no, games did not bring us together.
No.
That's just something we had in common.
Yeah. After I learned about the wild world of board
games.
What age did you get into gaming? Like whether it was board games or anything?
Oh.
I mean, I've been gaming forever, not board games.
How about like real games?
Well, they asked whether it's board games or RPGs, etc.
Like, so have you played Dungeons and Dragons?
No.
I used to play D&D when I was like...
I played Pogs.
When I was like 7, 8 years old. When it was cool.
Right.
Yeah, so, because that's what we did we played it after school and stuff like that. That was my first taste of like RPGs and gaming. But then I moved on to board games, and like my first like real board game in the genre was Hero Quest, which I still have.
Right.
And it's and it was like dungeon crawly, and then it just had all the stuff that was Ameritrashy, but it was like Milton Bradley produced it, so it was like mainstream.
Yeah.
And then so then my love for games pretty much stayed there, but I kind of fell out of it for a while, and played just video games for a while, and then a couple of years ago, right before I started up the channel, I got into board games again. And I think like Descent was one of the earlier ones that kind of pulled me into it, because it was close to the Hero Quest game that I had gotten, and so it was cool. Yeah,
and I was one of those like kids that like played Risk a lot. Like I hated all the other games. Yeah. Like all the Milton Bradley games, I hated playing.
Oh yeah, so I loved Risk too. Yeah, Risk was big.
And I played a lot of chess and stuff like that. And so, like, I've always kind of been like a strategist, which is why I was pleasantly surprised when I discovered that this entire hobby existed. It was really a nice turning point in my life. Yeah. All right, since gaming together, have your gaming tastes changed?
Yeah,
that's a good question.
And I'll be honest with you. I think, and this probably goes for everybody, right? Because everybody goes through a cycle of game genres that they enjoy and game mechanics that they enjoy, right? Because you could have somebody who just loves straight up Ameritrash and I hate Euros. And then they find a Euro that has some Ameritrash bit to it, and then all of a sudden they're like, actually Euros are kind of cool now, and maybe they start to sway away from Ameritrash. So I think you go through this cycle of, that's like saying I don't like horror movies but I like action movies, and you see a good action horror movie and then it kind of pulls you that way. Like I think with anything you like, you're going to go through like some changes, and I think over the period of time we've been playing, my tastes have certainly opened up to want to try different things that I wouldn't normally play.
Like when I pulled out Tricerian.
Well, I think that one I could.
Or Fog of Love.
Fog of Love probably is a little weird. I think like like Patchwork. I probably would never have played that game. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like that's just something that thematically I'd be like, nah, not doing it. But it was good. Yeah. Diplomacy, that was good.
And I would say the same. I mean, I've like I said, I mentioned earlier, I'm a very linear person. Yeah. So for me, the fantasy and things like that are really hard for me to grasp. because I'm like so grounded, like to a fault. And, so definitely now I can grasp the space and I can grasp like the fantasy and the exploration and things like that a lot more than I could before. And I do enjoy those, where before I kind of would have been maybe turned off. Like, I mean, I'm also the kind of person that would never not do something because I'm not like interested in it. Like, I'll give it a shot. But I certainly genuinely enjoy and get excited about thematically more of those like space games, fantasy games than than I would have originally. So that's because of you.
All right, good night, Tim.
Space.
All my space games. Here's an interesting question. Has there been any board games either of you got disappointed in or disappointed in some way over a mechanic of said game?
Yes.
Which one?
Oh, is it going to be the same one?
Probably not. Go ahead.
Really? Well, my biggest disappointment was Lorenzo El Magnifico last year, because what had happened, if you're not familiar with this, is that we'd played Lorenzo at Origins, I think. We played it, picked it up, loved it when we played it. We were taught the game by one of the teachers, and we got it home. We knew how to play it because we'd already played it before. We skimmed the rules to know how to set it up and stuff, but we already like knew how to play. Played it for the channel, gave it a great review, enjoyed it. The game was very close, and it was fantastic and a great experience. Then we learned after we posted the video that we completely misinterpreted one of the rules, and I wouldn't even say misinterpreted. We were taught one of the rules completely wrong. And so obviously we took the video down, replayed it again with the new rule, or with the correct rule, before we filmed it. And we had it was like a 40-point disparity or something, and it was just very unbalanced. And we didn't, but we had to. But everybody's like, "Where'd the Lorenzo video go?" So we did film it and put it up, and when we filmed, we had the same variation. And we spoke to that, I think, in our follow-up.
It wasn't a shiny review at the end.
So anyway, that was kind of the long.
And we traded it away ever since. So
we did, and I know that there is an expansion that came out that is supposed to fix some of those things, but I was disappointed by that because I was expecting a lot more.
I think you could say the stock market mechanic in Tesla vs. Edison is a game breaker.
It's a good one.
The first one, without the expansion.
It's
a game breaker.
The expansions fix a lot of this.
Expansion fixed it. I think the die roll that's a tooth in Dead of Winter is a game-breaking mechanic. Anytime you can roll a die and have a 1/8 of a chance to die is a horrible mechanic, in my opinion. Just terrible. And I think the what is that called? The Pony Express scoring mechanic in Railroad Revolution is another terrible mechanic.
It's very easy to exploit.
Because it's easy to exploit. The points are too high for it. You could easily mitigate that by reducing the amount of points you get for it, but any game you have to actually change something on the board, to me, breaks the game. So.
Yeah, and we will be putting this up if you're, I think DF was asking, are you keeping this up on the live stream? I think we are, right?
Keeping what up?
The video.
Of course, yes.
We'll just leave it up.
Yeah. This will be posted.
Yeah. All right. Oh, Raiders in North Sea.
We want to get that.
Yeah. We have Champions Midgard to get through first.
And then Raiders is coming. We will get to it.
All right, let's see if we have some more of these.
Did you play Cedars from Syrian? Nope. Don't know what that one is.
Oh.
Can you edit your Lost Archive footage down the road?
What?
With the... add what to the Lost Archive footage? The Lorenzo El Magnifico?
The Lost Archive footage.
No, you don't want to see that. Are you keeping your first live stream? Yes, we are. Okay.
Yeah. How is life treating us in the new house? Was another personal question.
It was a rough winter.
It
was a rough winter.
Very difficult. So for those of you who don't know, we moved into this house that I purchased as a project. I wanted to flip a house and live in it. And it was a great investment. It's a huge old farmhouse. And I know some of you have actually watched the video on my YouTube channel that kind of walks you through when it was still under construction and stuff. Or follow. And it was a huge undertaking. All the work got done. We finally got in the house in August. And there were still some things that needed to be done that we didn't realize needed to be done until winter.
Right.
Like insulating the pipes.
Yeah.
and walls.
Frozen water.
So there were several points that we had to like crawl under the house and like wrap pipes to keep them from freezing, especially if you're in the Northeast. We had a terrible winter, which we got this like what they call that thing, the snow clone, the snow cyclone,
the bomb cyclone
or something. I don't know. It got like Minnesota cold out here, and we're not used to that. So it got really really chilly, but it's going okay. I mean, it's a house, and we're lucky to have it. So. That's pretty much it. Yeah, winter is coming.
Yeah, it is here.
Winter is here.
Yeah.
My channel is it's called Femme Brulee, so it's FEMBRULEE.
Yes.
Right? Like creme brulee. Right. Let's see. Okay. So what do we do in real life? What are our real life jobs?
Interesting.
What do you do in real life?
I am an executive in finance at an investment bank.
Yeah.
I work in asset management. Been doing this for many, many years now.
Yeah.
So.
Too many years.
Too many years.
Okay. And I work for the government. So I work with a program that deals with schools and international students actually coming over to the United States. So we certify schools to bring folks over, and so they can go to school here, college, university, K-12, things like that. And I manage the schools and kind of help them understand the regulations and things like that. So regulatory compliance and kind of half education in a way. So it's kind of nice.
I look military. I was in the Marine Corps Reserves for 8 years, right after high school.
Yep.
Hence the USMC tattoo.
Can we see that? Did it go over top of your
I probably did. I don't know.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Other hobbies other than gaming.
7-5.
So basically, undercover. Did I look like? Well, I can't talk about my job too much, so I don't know what to tell you. Do we have
hobbies? Yeah. Hobbies? So, and this also ties in. So, we paint miniatures as a hobby. I'll play guitar a little bit. You play guitar. You sing sometimes. You do a lot of weird sessions like that.
We buy a lot of weird instruments just to learn how to play them.
Ukulele, mandolin.
We bought a mandolin. Yeah.
Guitar. So we tool around with that stuff a bit. I play video games, so I'll play on the PS4. I'll play on my PC. So I'm more of a PC gamer. Mm-hmm. And one of the questions was like, what are you playing now if you play PC games? I saw that.
Oh yeah.
So right now I'm playing 2 games. And I have a bunch of buddies. That's next, Mad Dog. So actually, Mad Dog is one of the guys I game with at night. So right now we play PUBG, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. Play that a lot.
Yeah, you guys.
And if I don't play online, I'm playing like Civ 6. I like that one too.
And while you're playing your online video games, I do a lot of yoga, so I'm like really super into yoga. And I write. I'm writing a book right now.
Yeah.
So. I blog. I do a lot of work with like victims of domestic violence and things. So that's kind of a passion project of mine that I do on the side. I also garden and grow a lot of seeds and try not to bring too much dirt in the house. So let's see. Final personal question on this list. Do you watch sports? And if so, which ones?
Yeah, you don't watch any. I do here and there football. American football, NFL, but I really only watch it through up to before the playoffs because I'm in fantasy league that I've been in for many years. So once the fantasy Super Bowl comes and goes, then I usually kind of lose interest at that point because nothing's at stake. Right. But I did win my league this year, so it was worth it.
Yeah, interesting. It was an interesting year for NFL.
It was
crazy time.
Crazy time, especially locally, because the Philly parade pretty much shut down the city, and we're right outside of Philly, so we get to see all that craziness.
Yeah, I guess I don't know. I don't really watch sport. I watch the Olympics sometimes. I feel like watching like gymnastics. It's fun.
Yeah.
But
what's your favorite game where one player is against the other secretly, or has an antagonist of some sort?
Oh, like a traitor.
Yeah. I tell you, I like Dead of Winter if it wasn't for that one die.
Yeah,
I love the fact that there's somebody, and obviously Nemesis, I think that would be really cool with a larger group because you've got that sort of traitor mechanic. I hear that Thing The Thing.
The Thing, yeah.
Is really cool with that as well. So any of those types of games, I think they're all really good. I haven't played it though. I would love to do it though.
Right.
Love fantasy football and the Packers. Yeah.
Ooh, where do you see yourself in 10 years? This is like an interview for like a job.
Yeah, I don't know. Retired. Doesn't mean I'm going to be there. In my dreams, I see myself there. But well, we'll change that. We'll change it into where do we see the channel
from the channel perspective? I would like to be designing more games. I'd like to design any game, a game, let alone many games.
So yes, we definitely want to get a game out. We definitely want the channel to continue to grow.
Right.
I think it's starting to get into a stride right now, and I think it's really a really good moment, at least for the channel. I think it's garnering a lot of interest, which is huge. But if you want to help the channel in any way, like just spread the word, get us out there, and try to get help us pick up subs because a lot of people look at subs, and it's one thing that's kind of an indicator.
It's kind of a weird
it's a weird indicator
because you could have a pretty decent subscription base, but if you're not getting, like, if people aren't watching your... I mean, I subscribe to all different kinds of channels on YouTube. Right. And I don't always, like, watch the videos,
Right. So we kind of a weird as thing. Part of our, like we talked on at the very beginning, we do a lot of research and analysis of different things going on in the industry. So we obviously look at all the channels going on. We watch a lot of the activity. So what we hold high in value is the number of not only subscribers, but what percentage of your subscriber base is watching your videos, right? Because you could have 20,000 subscribers, but your average video watch count is like 200. Right. That's a pretty small stat, in my opinion. So what percentage of your active subscription base is coming back to watch your videos? So to us, we have a pretty good turnout right now. From a percentage perspective, so I think that's healthy for the channel. That means people are coming to watch what we put out, and I think, and the more people who actively watch our stuff, the more we're incentivized to go out and put more content out. And that's what keeps us going. But if we put out a video and 2 people watch it,
well, and I think that's the biggest issue. Like,
time to hang up
we have a podcast, which nobody knows about, because we can't get a grip on how to like monitor whether people are listening. Like, we did this podcast, we started it last January, like a year ago, 2017. Yeah. And we put out, like, I don't know, 4 or 5 episodes or something. Then we kind of stopped because it was like us just talking, and we're like, is anybody even like listening to this thing? It was hard to manage on the website and stuff. And then we stopped doing it, and all these people started emailing us like, where's your podcast? Yeah. And we're like, oh, we didn't know anybody. We
didn't know people were actually listening to this.
So we tried it again, and like recently, and we still we don't really have there's like a paid service and stuff. Yeah, see, you guys love it, which I think is awesome. And I love the podcast because there's no editing. You just upload it. We will get back in the swing of it. But it's just kind of we have to find a better way to like manage it. So in the next 10 years, I would like to get that nailed down, probably. Right. We'd like to open like a board game shop. We talk about that a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot of different things we'd like to do from an entrepreneurial perspective to get. I'm kind of ready to move on to my next segment of my career, and I'd like to consider something else that actually I might enjoy doing for a living. Right. And then kind of free up more time for this stuff. But days I have to commute into Midtown Manhattan. I'm not getting home until 9 o'clock at night. So when am I going to film a video? And I got to be up at 4:45 to get back to work. It's just brutal.
I drive all day for work. Yeah. So
the podcast.
We're exhausted by the time.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And you don't. Yeah. By the time you get home too, we're both shot. So podcast is just Ant Lab Games. You can find it on iTunes.
How much of the video do we need to watch? I often watch the first 15 minutes and then the last.
That's all you need to do.
15 minutes. Yeah.
You literally need to watch 30 seconds of the video. As soon as you click it, it counts it as a view. So that's how we know you're watching.
Oh, I thought he meant like how much do I need to watch to get an idea for the game?
Oh no, I thought he meant to count as
to like count.
Views. Oh, on the back of our.
Oh, I have no idea.
Yeah. I think as soon as you click it, it's a view. But you watch as much as you want to watch if you want to see it for the whole thing. But I've been adding the timestamp so you can jump. You could jump right to the review part instead of having to watch the whole playthrough, because not everybody wants to play through. Some people just want to review. We could probably break that up into 2 videos, but I don't want to have to manage 2 different streams per
Right.
game,
Yeah.
and I just think it just floods the channel.
Right.
I'd rather say, you want to hit the video for the review, just click on it, hit the link, and you'll go right to the end, and you won't have to worry about the playthrough.
Right.
But you always have the option of watching the playthrough.
But a lot of people like watching the playthrough because, again, it gives you a feel for how it plays.
Yep.
Are we working on game design together or solo projects? Probably both.
Both.
Eventually. I mean, we throw ideas off of each other, for the game designs and stuff. But we'll probably do a little bit of both.
What are your favorite expansions that are essential to the original game?
Yeah, so those were 2 of them. I haven't played Lorenzo, so I can't
Lorenzo, we think, is probably needed, but
Tesla
vs. Edison is an absolute.
Must.
You have to have that expansion, otherwise I wouldn't bother playing it.
Yeah.
Play our favorite.
Yeah, 10 podcasts to listen to. Yeah, they're pretty good. We try to, in the podcast, we try to talk about, we talk about games, but we talk about other things like industry related too.
Things going on in the industry.
Just stuff happening and, our views on things. We recently started working on a research project to look at, what people like, and maybe based on their personality type, what could we anticipate somebody will like, in an effort to kind of answer that question of how do I get my significant other into board gaming, so we can say, okay, well, based on this other standard personality indicator, they may prefer X, Y, and Z types of mechanics or whatever. So we're going to be getting into doing more of that too.
So this question here about breaking one video into 35, 45 minutes, do part 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
I would do that. I've done that in the past, and I'll be honest with you. If I break a video into 3 videos, and for example, you look at views, and this is again looking at how many people are viewing your videos. If I break one of our videos into 3 parts, 3 equal parts,
right?
The first video will get 1,000 hits. We'll just say it that way, right? We'll break the numbers down. You get 1,000 hits for the first video. The second video may get 400. The third video will get about 150. So, is the value in splitting it worth it to the third video, because it's not
the Rado break.
Yeah, the Rado break, because nobody's really looking at that last segment. They want to just see the beginning, and they get an idea at that point. Do I want to watch the whole playthrough, or do I want to continue watching this series? Done it so many times, and it's just the last video never gets the hits. So it's like, is it even worth it?
Yeah.
Just go to the one video. You can skip around all you want.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't have to watch the whole thing. You don't have to watch it in one setting either. Watch 20 minutes and then come back to it later.
Right.
I've watched 2-3 hour playthroughs, but I watch them in bits. I'll watch half an hour here or half an hour later, tomorrow. Just break it up.
Okay, here we go. Okay, so there's actually 2 questions. I want to do this one first. The question about our ethnicities, take a guess, and then we'll answer that in a minute.
All right.
You recently made a list of best 2-player games of 2017 and placed Anachrony number 1. Just a few weeks earlier, you made a review of Fog of Love and mentioned that was now your number 1 for 2.
Right.
What changed? And I think if I could answer this, our top 10 that we put out was really overall games that we felt were our favorite of the year. When we reviewed Fog of Love, that one is exclusively for 2. So that is at least still, by far exclusively for 2 players.
Right.
That's my number 1. Would you say it's the same thing? Because our list that we did for top 10 is we said we always do our top 10s and our reviews and things are all usually based on 2 players, because we don't have the opportunity to play all of them with 3 or 4 or more. Or solo, for that matter. So when we do a top 10 overall, like we did earlier, we're really looking at what games we most enjoyed together. But when we talk about, Fog of Love is a whole other animal in itself. But so I hope that answers your question.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Ooh, message deleted.
The spammers have hit. So I think we've overstayed our welcome.
Oh, we have. Is that? Oh, there's spam.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I guess we can answer our ethnicities really quickly, and then are you going to tell people who you are?
Who I am?
Yeah.
Oh, what are they asking?
Asked our ethnicities.
Oh, my ethnicity. Oh, is that what all this is about? I am half Vietnamese and half Italian.
Yeah, and I'm American, so but I'm mostly Eastern European, so grandparents are Slavic and Russian. Okay, cool. All right. I think we answered most of these other ones. There was one really good question that came through that we didn't get to that just asked how we research games that we want to play. So I wanted to answer that one before we go.
Oh, go ahead.
So I think when we usually hear about a game by just osmosis. It's kind of passive. Either we'll see an advertisement for it, or what I'll do is like check the publisher's pages, to see what's kind of coming up. We follow a lot of our favorite designers. Like I follow Vidal, all over the place.
Yeah.
To see what he's working on. So we're kind of in the know about some of the things that are coming out, and we'll track the progress. Sometimes our research involves looking at other content creators and seeing like what they've thought about certain things, or seeing how those games play that we haven't gotten a hold of yet. But for the most part, I think it's just more organic than that, and a lot of hands-on time with the games if possible. So.
Yes, absolutely. All right.
So I guess we'll do a last call real quick. Let's see. Oh, putting me on the spot. I was just typing Italian something else. Oh, you beat me. Yeah.
All right. So
we're not going to answer that one.
So if there's no other questions, I think, it's about an hour and a half, and it's probably as long as we want to go. But I definitely want to thank all of you for joining us. This was fun. Really fun.
And we'll do it again.
Yeah, we'll do it again.
If you didn't get your question in, or hopefully we got a lot of them, but...
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that many questions. I think it was fantastic, though.
Favorite game with kids.
Wow, what's the favorite game with kids?
What did we play recently? They loved the Mighty Monsters.
Mighty Monsters, by Queen really Games. Good. That was pretty good. They liked that one. All right, but that's it. We're cutting off. Thanks so much for joining us. That's pretty much it. So
I guess
again,
we'll see you next time.
Yeah, see you next time. Remember the podcast, AntLab Games on iTunes. I don't know wherever else you can get it, right? Google Play.
Yeah, all those things.
We're on Facebook, AntLab Games. We're on Twitter, AntLab Games. Just AntLab Games.
It's it's like pretty much everywhere.
Yeah, and we respond to everything.
Well, when you comment on our videos, we try to respond.
Try to.
But we get a lot of those. If you want to really get in touch with us, email's usually the best.
Yep.
Or Facebook message. And let us know what you thought of the Q&A. This is our first one. So if you have comments or, criticisms or whatever, shoot them over. And next time we, maybe we'll have a little bit clearer picture. I don't know. We're always tweaking something.
So. Yeah. So, all right, cool. Thanks for joining. We'll see you next time.
See ya.